I want to talk about something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and it's the fact that we spend time with God mostly when it's convenient for us. And what I mean by that, I know life gets busy. We've got work, family, friends, and so many other things going on in our lives. And before we know it, our day is almost over, and we realize we haven't spent any time with God. Sometimes we'll finally get 10 minutes of free time and think, okay, now I'll pray, I'll read my Bible. But if you're being honest, a lot of the time we're just trying to get it out the way. It's almost like we're ticking a box. I prayed today, I read a chapter, I'm good now. But spending time with God was never meant to be an item on a list. If we only go to God because we happen to have some free time, we're not treating Him like a priority in our lives. We're treating Him like another task we need to complete before moving on with our day. Let's look at the life of Jesus when he was on earth. He was a busy guy, healing the sick, preaching the word, leading people toward the Father, and he had thousands of people following him. And I'm not talking about Instagram followers, I mean people with 2 feet actually walking with him. So, yes, he was busy, but you know what? He still separated himself at times from the groups of people he was around so he could spend alone time with the Father in prayer. He didn't make the excuse of I'm too busy, even though he really was. He still slipped away from the crowd and made time for God. Luke 5 verse 15 to 16 says, news about Jesus spread widely, drawing large crowds to hear him and be healed. Yet Jesus frequently withdrew to lonely places to pray. And you want to know something that's actually crazy when you really think about it? To get away from the people he was with. There were times when he got into a boat and went away from the crowds. Other times he would go up onto a mountain or find a completely isolated place just to pray. Think about that. Jesus had people following him everywhere. He had people who needed healing, people who wanted to hear him teach, and people constantly demanding his attention. But he still made time to get alone with the Father. He didn't wait until prayer became convenient. He didn't say, if I have some free time today, I'll pray. He intentionally made time for God. And if Jesus, the Son of God, made spending time with the Father a priority, how much more should we? Because sometimes we say we're too busy for God, but Jesus showed us that spending time with God isn't about whether you have free time, it's about whether you've made Him a priority. We don't need to take a boat to be alone in prayer. We can go to our rooms, the toilet, walking in the street. The Bible often portrays a relationship with Jesus as a marriage, just like how two partners spend time with each other, having intimate conversations, making time for one another. So should we treat Jesus, because he's the most important relationship we'll ever have. Just imagine for a second a husband telling his wife, I'll spend time with you only if I have nothing to do. That's crazy. And the scary part is, without even knowing it, many people treat God like that. I was one of them. I would live for the world Monday to Saturday, drink and party every time I got the chance. Then Sunday would come. I'd go to church acting like I haven't done anything wrong the rest of the week. I'll pray, sing, and think to myself, I'm a Christian. That's not a relationship. I might think that it was, but it wasn't. If there's one thing I want you to take with you after watching this video, it's just to prioritize your relationship with Jesus. Don't treat him like nothing. He's the reason you're still breathing. He doesn't want you to be perfect. He just wants your heart. I didn't make this video to make you feel guilty. I made it to remind you that there's a God out there that wants a relationship with you. He's knocking on your door. Are you going to let him in?